Hunter saves it. Hunter Hughes is coming around. Here comes Colton Garner. It's Hunter Hughes!
Turn 4 for the final time. Who's got more ponies? Checkered flag out. Bluegrass 150 goes to Ian Miller.
And welcome back to the Daily Dribble Podcast, guys. As always, I'm your host, Nick Zammit.
Good, get the name out there. It's like, hey, Joseph Newgarden, you're the guy with the sperm commercial. Yeah.
International for the first time since 2024, we welcome you to Circuit Spa-Francorchamps for the Garage Talk Grand Prix. 12 cars on the grid tonight. Let's meet them, as it'll be Ian Miller on pole in the 48, McLaren Hunter Hughes alongside him in the 18. Lucas Puntaralli in the 85 will be alongside Matt Faust to make up row number 2. Eddie Tostado and Derek Booker will be 5th and 6th. David Kruger, Jacob Barker round out your top 8. Wesley Fuge, Eric Richardson, Eric Mattingly, Bill Mulfield, DJ Fluck, and Michael Deitch make up your field of 14. Jackson Lambros here in the broadcast booth. Happy to have you with us for an interesting one. Plenty of road courses normally on the agenda in the Indy Racing World Series. Not quite as bizarre as this circuit, the Spa-Francorchamps, a place that needs zero introduction. The home of the Belgian Grand Prix, the 24 hours of Spa, and obviously the World Endurance Championship. 6 hours of Spa has been, in nearly a decade of running, one of the jewel boxes of IndyCar. American Open Wheel Racing has obviously been here a handful of times, although it's been either at Zandvoort or a handful of other venues in the region. But plain and simple, there has never been a real-life IndyCar venue here in 2020. Joseph Newgarden had a handful of international venues that he took the cast to of the real-life IndyCar series. This was one of them. Now it's time for the Indy Racing World Series to have their own taste of international Grand Prix style action. 6 years out from that first taste. It'll be 25 laps of racing tonight. Fuel will last about 13. Get a lot of these guys starting on the alternatives. They'll have to sample both of the tire compounds tonight. Push to pass is on, hybrid is on. Ian Miller, Hunter Hughes on the front row, bringing us to green here from Spa. Great start for Miller. You see Tostado trying to make it 3 wide. Trouble early, Hunter Hughes. Looking like he lost an element. I think the front right of his front wing maybe is fully off. Good start as well. Lucas Puntaralli up a pair stand with Matt Faust. As we head up Eau Rouge for the first time, we look further back. Jacob Barker wasting 0 time as we work our way down the Camel Straight. 3/4 of a mile, plenty of time to stretch your legs. Derek Booker, what a save further back as Tostado is able to just barely hang on around the outside and fend off from Jacob Barker. Back down the hill to the corner famously with No Name Miller out in front still, but Puntaralli immediately closing that gap as well as Matthew Faust. Is there damage to Hunter Hughes? My computer thinks so, and that front wing is fully off. But regardless, Derek Booker not able to close that gap, nor is Wesley Fuge or Eric Richardson. Again, green flag scheduled for all 25 laps this evening. But with 13 laps, the longest they will go. That's about at halftime, so this is going to be the faster stint for a lot of these guys. They can't go alternate to alternate. They'll have to switch over for pretty much everybody in the top 6. On these red tires, they will have to switch over to the harder and slower primary compounds. For this guy back on those compounds is Jacob Barker further back here in the 2. He had a mistake because he went further back into the bus stop chicane. Derek Booker on the inside will lunge it. Oh, and Tostado around. Was there a little bit too much curb or maybe some contact there? And just like that, we are on our way. Here from Circuit to Spa-Francorchamps. Lucas Puntaralli looking to put the pressure here on your former champ, Ian Miller. Lights on, and that's already a done deal at the end of the Camel Straight. Your first new leader on just lap 2, Lucas Puntaralli. Down the hill, Miller gonna try and swing back. Lucas giving him the room. Now goes late apex to shut the door on him. Puntaralli was hanging on to that 85 during practice. Clearly has it dialed in for good rotation. But that low grip certainly could bite him back later on in this stint. This is also the same tire that they did qualify on. So if they were overdriving that tire, that 25-minute session earlier on, that could bite them later on in the session. And already what seems like a 2-car breakaway as we work our way back towards the source. Side by side, they'll lock horns through one of the fastest corners of the circuit. Who's going to come out on top? Trouble there. Ian Miller, monster shunt on the outside. And was that just a matter of being a little bit too ambitious for lap number 2? Just a little bit too much. Big time shunt into the outside. Get that car going though, but he immediately takes that one to pit lane. We'll bring it over as we work our way back into Lacombe. So that'll be on Matt Faust now to try and close that gap. Holding a little bit further back though. We continue to look into Camel Straight. Bill Molefield in the 911 goes low on David Kruger. That'll be a done deal for P6. Veteran firefighter Bill Molefield looking for his first top 5 of the season, and I believe what would be his first as well on at the road courses. Good stuff so far from the seasoned driver, longer tenure drivers. Both Eduardo Martinez Tostado and Ian Miller are in the pit lane. Not sure if they're going back out. Hunter Hughes hiring from the night as well. And that's down 13 cars for the night. 11 running now back to DJ Fluck. On board with Matthew Faust, the 89, trying to track down Lucas Puntaralli. Kitty litter's kind of worked its way back up on track through the bus stop chicane. That's why you saw Lucas Puntaralli giving it a little bit of opposite lock there. Into turns 18 and 19. And out of La Source, get the feeling that hybrid going to be a huge aspect of this. Not necessarily in making moves, but in setting yourself up for moves, getting yourself in range of a tow, setting yourself up to get in the draft. Feels like that's exactly what Matthew Faust is doing right now, because he is reeling him in down the Camel Straight into Lacombs. Puntaralli taking all of the advantage right now with the clean air going over the front wing of that 85. Derek Booker not too far back, either 6 seconds and dropping for the Mach 5. down to the long left-hander of Pujon and Double Gauche. And we flick it right into Le Pons, one of the slower combinations on the track. Got to be so careful running the curbs here. You have a little bit of that AstroTurf on the run-up on the outside there of turn 13. Same right here through Stravelot campus. Got to be so careful doing that rumble strips. These cars are so low that you can indeed kind of board slide the chassis on the outside. Very careful. Matthew Faust is within striking distance. Does he go here? He takes a look to the inside, into the chicane. Puntaralli, been in this position before, both in the real world and virtual. And a long-time dueling partner with Matthew Faust. How much do they battle this early on? It's already been Hunter Hughes as well as Ian Miller. Great exit for Lucas Puntaralli on the button using the hybrid. Stretch it out just a little bit longer. But Matthew Faust is closer than he's been in the past couple goes at it. He still stays tucked in. Just behind, he goes a little bit late. He'll cut the course and have to slow down to get back on and not get a penalty. Again, in these short but mentally challenging road course races, you just gotta know when to make your move. Know when to reserve. Matthew Faust has to once again gather it back up and try and set up for another overtake. Bill Molefield still up ahead of David Kruger. Michael Deitch just behind. Oh, this is starting to become a battle. You can see Deitch with a really good run there coming out of No Name. Again, going down the hill, you're gathering so much momentum. You got to negotiate with those Firestones to not over-rotate the car, go into the curbs there. Deitch has to be so careful with those different levels of grips. Bill Molefield trying to find a way to fight back. Ian Miller is on the hunt as well. You just saw him further back make a move on Eddie Martinez and put down the purple lap as well. He will have to come in one more time. However, tire's not going to be a factor. No cautions tonight either, so stretching it out under a safety car also not going to be an option. Second gear on exit now drops it first, tiptoeing back on the throttle. Again, no traction control. These open wheels. Massaging that right foot and eking out the power is what is absolutely critical for setting up your runs. Game 2 is maximizing your momentum right here, Eau Rouge. How much does Kruger take from the curbs? Doesn't even touch it. Puts off a throttle a little bit. Looking at the camera straight. You can see that flash of the green there. He's on the push to pass to try and close that gap. 30 seconds used so far for Kruger, who we right on board with now. Only about 5 used so far for Bill Molefield. 200 allowed over the course of the night. Fastest lap for Ian Miller. He finds himself back in P9 now. Next car up the road would be Eric Richardson at about 10 seconds to gap. Kruger up the inside. Clean move on Bill Molefield, where Ian Miller couldn't get it done. I'm not sure if that was maybe a missed shift or a poor exit from Bill, but Michael Deitch able to make mincemeat of him. Get back up into P5. Try and figure out what happened here. Yeah, I think Bill maybe just going a little bit off into the grass there. Carried it a little bit too wide. Turn 15. Through Paul Ferrer. He's obviously not out of the woods yet. Look at how wide Molefield is there on the exit. DJ Fluck a lap down. We'll let those two on by. Not too far back, Michael Deitch waiting in the wings. This race could possibly be a two-stopper as well, although you'd just be getting to that point now where that kind of makes sense. And talking with Eric Richardson just before we went green here, 13.5 laps are really the maximum fuel allowed, so you would have to stretch it. That is counting your out lap, which, I mean, they're only given about half of an out lap here from the grid to the green. You are not given a lot extra to work with in terms of fuel saving, in terms of running rich. You've got to find that extra pace, obviously, in your hybrid system and your push to pass, and in selecting the right tires. A lot of kitty litter being pushed on track there between 14 and 15. Stravelot and Paul Ferrer. You guys got to be really careful getting on the loud pedal, working on to one of the longest straightaways in motorsports. Obviously, that's exactly where we saw Bill Molefield get caught up earlier. He's now finally back within striking distance of David Kruger. Through Lasource, bumper to bumper, a little bit of a slow exit. Kruger's been really conservative on the curb and coming up Eau Rouge. What's the strat here? A lot more confidence for Molefield than his adversary. Is this going to set up the run he's been looking for? Down the Camel Straight. Bumper to bumper, might be too late for a lunge. Molefield will wait another corner. Goes late again, but Deitch carries just a little bit too much. Has to gather it back up, going through Lacombe's. Both these guys overdriving, keeping one another honest. Eight laps in here to the Garage Talk Grand Prix here from Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. Jackson Lambros with you as we continue to watch this battle just on the bubble of the top five. Bill Molefield did take that move from David Kruger early on, but with a mistake just a couple corners behind here. Kruger able to snatch that lead back. See Molefield in the 911 machine try and close that gap to the highlighter 46. Could also mention, obviously, no rain in the forecast this weekend. We, in our opening round in Portland last time by, wanted to brighten the rain system, and that definitely was one of the more challenging ones for a lot of these guys as Michael Deitch now comes into pit lane. And he will join, oh boy, Wesley Fuge with a very beat up IndyCar that we did not see earlier on. Martinez Testado, I think, is retired as well. One of the few drivers coming just for this race. Will unfortunately retire that USMC machine at P13, a couple laps down. Scheduled stop there for Deitch, I think. Well, that might be a little bit earlier than he thought. Because again, fuel limit is right at 13 laps. It's going to be very close here. Oh, both of them wide. That's actually going to give a little bit of breathing room now to Deitch once again. But both of these guys have been pushing each other so hard. They're starting to run into the tracks of Jacob Barker just ahead. Barker now coming in. Oh man, this is going to be really close on strat. These two coming in early, and we have got a battle on our hands. A little bit of an early flick to the inside, hugging that wall. Coming out of Lasource, trying to break the toe. Up the hill, Molefield is monster trucking over the curbs. We're right on board with him now. Trying to get us tucked in that rear wing in front of him as possible. $50 seconds already used from Kruger. Again, only 5 approximately used here for Bill Molefield. That was, I believe, Michael Deitch going out of the way further back. That might have been DJ Fluck. Correction, Eric Mattingly letting him through there. One of the longest tenured drivers in IRWS battling against one of the new guys, David Kruger. What a duel this has been for the past 8 laps for P5. Main overtaking opportunities. You've seen it already in Camel Straight. The other going to be right here coming out of curve of Paul Ferrer, but it's so loose on the exit. And obviously there's a very long and fast left-hander. 16 and 17 Blanchimont. Ian Miller tried it along the outside earlier on. He got a face full of tire barrier right here. Going the long way around Matthew Faust and Lucas Puntaralli. Oh, late lunge into the bus stop chicane. Lockup from Bill Molefield. Looks like Deitch went around further back. Good save there from Bill. I think he knew he was a little bit too deep and ran it wide on the exit. Last thing he wanted to do there was get into the back of David Kruger. But now that gap going from 7/10 to 1.4, it doubles. You are seeing plenty of desperation from both of these guys on track right now. Kruger overdriving to build that gap. Molefield overdriving to close it. Kruger going wide now at the chicane at the top. Molefield easily through for P4. Molefield was not able to build that gap last time through. Can he finally do it this time? Or can David Kruger from P5 try and crawl back? TJ Fluck is lap traffic here. And Oldfield's coming in. Could have him just at the limit here, and this is interesting. Ruger thinks he's got just enough in the tank to stretch it for one more. Derek Booker coming in with him. We're just now off the jacks as Molefield comes in. Very quick stop for Molefield. Both of these guys, I think, waiting for gas. Booker very slow here. Might be a little bit of damage he's getting fixed as well. That'll be an on-track pass. What is happening to Derek Booker? Still waiting. That's got to be maybe a bent suspension piece being swapped out somewhere in the car. Kenny Martinez Tostado back in the race, as well as you now see Booker finally get off the jacks. Very interesting exit right here, though. They actually dump you out right here, coming out of La Source. No super long speed lane limiter. For the Enduros, you see the pits on the left-hand side, and this is where they dump you out just at the top of Eau Rouge. Or could be all the way right here at Radion. But both for Formula One and for any of the smaller grids, I believe World Endurance Championship does this as well. From a little bit of a shorter exit there. Pretty safe place to have him out as well compared to the top of the fastest part of the racetrack. Race leader Lucas Puntaralli is in. That will give the reins back over to Matthew Faust. He thinks he can stretch it a little bit as well. How long can he go? Take this time to thank all of our sponsors, as the Indy Racing World Series is brought to you by Fix Coffee Brand. If you're looking for your next coffee fix, you've got to check out Fix Coffee Brand. Fresh, bold flavor, and you get to grind your own coffee beans for that perfect cup every time. Use code Eric Richardson, no spaces, capital E and R at checkout for 15% off on your next order. And Eric Richardson, E-R-I-K, Richardson with a K. Also sponsored, of course, as it's the Garage Talk Grand Prix by Garage Talk. Join FR Racing's DJ Fluck and Eric Richardson every Friday morning as they discuss the world of motorsports, both real and simulated. This week, it's DJ and Eric recapping the week in iRacing, discussing DJ's long winless streak, and officially announcing the Showtime Esports Manager. That, of course, being the sponsor for Wednesday Night Dash, moving forward from our grand finale tomorrow evening. Catch that anywhere you race, anywhere you listen to your podcast. That's FR Racing's Garage Talk. Matthew Faust back out in front for the first time since lap 4. Puntaralli in second. It's about 14 seconds back. This should be a relatively easy switch to the front. See if Faust is able to hold this lead. Here he goes into the pits. This should be relatively quick work here, as Faust just now works his way in. Those new tires are being very advantageous for Puntaralli just now coming through, before Faust is able to get to the box even. Now the question is, can Jacob Barker potentially get him? Just working his way into the chicane. Faust already off the jacks. Is going to be very quickly able to fend off for P3. Further back, Eric Mattingly coming in. quick update as well on that P4, P5 battle. Bill Molefield is able to fend off with that lead. You just see him at the front of your screen now. Made the move on track, and the undercut looked to work as well. He's sitting pretty comfortably now in P4. Starting to stack up here actually behind Jacob Barker. Look at this. We do have a battle unfolding now for your bottom spot on the podium. As Bill Molefield starts to reel in Jacob Barker, with David Kruger not too far behind. Bit late there into the chicane. That'll make it even easier for Bill Molefield. Bill Molefield especially not notably strong on the road courses, but something has unlocked behind the wheel of that 911. Oh. God dang it, man. All right, Wi-Fi crapped out. Give me 2 seconds, chat. Good battle unfolding here. As Bill Molefield is right over the gearbox of Jacob Barker. Looks like there was some kind of mistake, though, from David Kruger. That gap now down to 12 seconds. Barker looking for his first podium of the season. Molefield could possibly be looking for the first one in a handful of seasons. Liking the line here from Bill as well, swinging it a little bit wide. I mentioned it through Eau Rouge. Bill is not scared to use the curb, whether it's on entry or exit. He's doing the same here through the back half of the course. But Barker right now has those corner exits down. He's just able to unleash all the power of that twin turbo V6 a little bit better than Bill for the time being. Mistake there from Bill Molefield will give more breathing room for Barker, who's got to fend him off for another 7 laps to try and put this one to bed. Bit late. Going down the hill there for Barker, coming into the corner with no name. He's trying to put that gap on Molefield. But little mistakes like that certainly not going to help. Again, Barker, your race winner for round number 2 at Homestead. Trying to find himself back on the podium. Still no pressure out in front for Lucas Puntaralli. But the Jaws music is starting, because that gap from Matthew Faust was about 4.5 seconds. And he is slowly but surely starting to chip away at him. He's got 5 laps to try and take this lead back. Oh, look at this. Barker in the pits. He had to come in earlier, and now he throws in the towel. Bill Molefield's up into the podium. How about that? Jacob Barker, I don't think was going to make it on fuel. Has to come in for a little bit more. Again, stopped very early. Actually, no, I'm seeing his stint is no, he did come in earlier on. He has come into the pit lane. That'll put Molefield up onto the podium. But we are far from done. Further back. Because not only is Matthew Faust closing the gap to Puntaralli, but Ian Miller is starting to close that gap further back. Guy who's been the fastest guy all day long. Obviously had that issue and got sent to the pit lane early. However, he might not have enough fuel as well. if he does, it's a 10-second gap now to Bill Molefield. Can he fight his way onto the podium? We are down to only 10 cars now. Eddie Martinez retiring. Eric Mattingly, DJ Fluck, Wesley Fuge, and Hunter Hughes all put aside. That gap now 7 seconds in one lap, and Molefield into the pits. Ian Miller fights his way back up into the podium. And this battle could be re-sparked between himself and Barker. But again, Ian Miller might not be able to make it work. We talked about how close it's going to be. And very quickly, you're starting to wonder if Puntaralli and Faust can actually make this work on their strategy. Molefield in the box. Where will he come out relative? Richardson just coming across the stripe. And Jacob Barker as well. Bill Molefield, something might be damaged. Just finally now coming out of the pits. But a handful of spots lost. Looks like he'll come back out P8. Here's Derek Booker at the blend line. Molefield will be well clear of him. How about that? This gap continuing to close. 5 laps to go from Belgium. And that gap, Puntaralli from Faust, was 4 seconds with 10 to go. With 5 to go, it's at 2.5. As Matthew Faust saved something for late. Wish to Pass could share it with us a little bit. What's left in store? Puntarelli's only touched it pretty much once. 196 left on the button for your race leader. Matthew Faust has 176. Ian Miller out of La Source. This is pretty much last call in terms of pit lane if you really want to try and stretch this out to the end. In front of him keeps getting bigger and bigger. He's just got to keep putting his head down and trying to build. Now 1.8 the gap. Watch for the green lights on the steering wheel. That's how you know he's got push to pass going. Not yet. Matt Faust maybe has been on the podium once. He's had a very unlucky start to the season. Obviously had the contact with Hunter Hughes in Phoenix. Was a no-show following weekend at Homestead, and then last week in Dover. Went from pole, but again, contact put him out early. And he has found himself once again back to the rear bumper, and this has absolutely become a battle now. Puntaralli was able to defend earlier, and Faust made a critical mistake that kept him out of making a move. Pretty much dropped the gap down from about half a second to 5 seconds. And the 85 and the 89 with 4 laps to go have set us up for a phenomenal battle to the end here. It had to be. It could only be. Good exit. Faust going down, let her break the draft. Here's the look for the lead. And Matthew Faust taking the long way around outside of turn 13. Retakes the lead from Spa. Can Lucas Puntaralli swing back? Or is Matty Faust going to ride up into the Belgian sunset? Great exit out of the bus stop for Puntaralli. He is not giving up. Now push the pass coming into play. Faust had to use a good chunk to get there. Puntaralli still has hardly been on the button. With about 120 seconds, or excuse me, 200 seconds being given, and these being about 120-second laps. It's going to be a game of cat and mouse to figure out when to use it. Puntaralli on the button. Faust going down low down the Camel Street to try and defend. Now you're seeing these guys run on the bumper a little bit more, or excuse me, run on the curbs a little bit more. They know what they've got to do to stay in contention. And if Dirty Air doesn't work online, they got to go offline, overdriving both of them down the hill through Rivage. Through No Name, who's got the most mo? Out of turn number 9. Puntaralli still not trying to fight back just yet. Even though it's a road course, it's that same Indy 500 level of patience that could lock down a victory. Biding your time, only taking the lead long enough to not give the guy behind a chance to swing back and retake it. You've got a great opportunity right here, out of Blanchemont, into the right-left chicane, 18 and 19. It could very well be a last lap, last corner send from one of our drivers to take victory here at Spa. And I'm liking the way Lucas is using that left foot right now. He's closed down that gap so well. But it could be sooner. Twin sticks come down. Faust, Puntaralli. Miller has it on lock for the podium. Lucas trying to cut it late. Up Eau Rouge. This will be a good run for Puntaralli. Faust once again going down to defend. Pseudo Tail of the Dragon into Lacombe's. Matthew Faust, one of the most renowned drivers in IRWS history, still looking for that road course prowess. This could be huge in terms of his progress, not just in the history books of IRWL, but in once again reigniting that championship hope. No one has really been consistent in terms of a breakaway. It's DJ Fluck who's your championship leader. He finds himself in the pit lane now. Could DJ be handing the torch back over to the 89? Could Faust be on the plane back to America as your points leader? It's not the only road course we'll be going to. St. Pete replacing Indy Road in week 9. Faust showing that when he's turning right, he cannot be beat. Can Lucas Puntaralli say anything about that? Through Blanchemont for the penultimate time. Puntaralli not within striking distance just yet. Both of these guys on the button. And again, good stuff on the brakes here. And after 24 laps, it's the one that counts from Spa. Is it Puntaralli's for the taking? Or can Matt Faust hold off the Florida kid? First big overtaking spot coming up right here. Out of Eau Rouge into Camel Straight. A little bit wide there for Faust. Good run from Puntaralli, and he's on the button. He looks right, now left. Where is he going to pop out from the peloton? Down low. Into Lecombs on the anchors. Is he deep enough to block it off? Textbook maneuver. Puntaralli back to the lead. And now it's Faust starting to try and fight back. Through Boulan, he's done this 2 times already this evening. What a battle. This has been from one of the jewel boxes of motorsports. And a battle that's going to be etched in the history books of Indy racing. And we still don't know who's going to come out on top. Look to the inside. Puntaralli going very ambitious there, not able to make it stick. That could hurt his run here. Bruce Travelot and Paul Frere for the final time. Main overtaking move. Puntaralli has set this up time and time again. Can he make it stick? Matt Faust with a major move in Le Bon. Took the lead back. Puntaralli's going low. They'll lock horns on the back straightaway. No, they won't. Big moment. Matt Faust up and over. And just like Ian Miller, it ends with the flying of carbon fiber. But Lucas Puntaralli is going to win a barnstormer here in Spa. Oh my goodness. And immediately we need to take a replay there and see what happened. Was there contact again? We're just going to walk you through the lap, frankly. Puntaralli retook the lead at the end of the Camel Straight. And here's the swing back into Le Fons. Sweeping move there for Puntaralli to get back into the lead. It was ambitious for Faust to try and take the lead there. And then he tried the long way around, exactly where Miller did it. They both slid. There is a possibility where both of those drivers couldn't have made it to the line and Ian Miller was your race leader. But crucially, Matt Faust actually able to bring it home in P2, it looks like. But Lucas Puntaralli becoming your 4th winner of the season. You get to a point where you struggle to put it into words. So there you go, folks. Lucas Puntaralli, your race leader. Matt Faust, Ian Miller joining him on the podium, with David Kruger, Jacob Barker rounding out your top 5. Then it's Eric Richardson, Derek Booker, Bill Molefield, and Michael Dauch. Again, those two fighting for the podium, couldn't make it stretch on fuel. I think they were both driving themselves a little bit out of it. Then we get to the DNFs with Eddie Martinez Tostado rounding out your top 10. Eric Mattingly, DJ Fluck, Wesley Fuge, and Hunter Hughes rounding out your field. We've got your podium with us, and boy, we've got a lot of storylines here, no matter where you look. But let's get started here with Ian Miller and a Viking drive, not one you necessarily wanted to have there, but talk to me about that drive from the back of the field.
Oh, got a 40-second penalty because I forgot to put the pit limiter on, and yeah, that's what I guess secured me third. Otherwise, I think I probably would have won. But yeah, it was a good drive. I think, ironically, crashing out at lap 5 gave me a really good tire strategy because it was a primary race all the way. I mean, I was running 159s until I needed a fuel save. So, like I could have run, a lot faster if I fueled up a bit more at that last stop. But yeah, no, I'm real happy with that drive. I think I showed well. I also showed that there's less grip at the outside of Blanchimont. So more we learn.
Well, we've got plenty to share with us just how low that grip is, unfortunately. Matty Faust, a phenomenal drive there, giving us one of the best duels. However, had to salvage home a P2 finish. Talk to me about those closing laps, duking it out with Lucas.
Yeah, that was great battling. I really thought in the early stint, I didn't even mean to kind of overshoot a turn, but lost with them. Wanted to just hang with them the rest of the race, but yeah, luckily I had good fuel strategy coming to the end, and the primary tire worked out. And yeah, last laps, there was nothing wrong that I saw there. I was just going for it, lost it, had some air wash, and spun it around. Happy I made it home in P2, so had to go for it on the last straightaway there.
Was a good battle, but ultimately Lucas Puntaralli becomes winner number 4 of this young Indy Racing World Series. And Lucas, I mean, it's been quite literally planes, trains, and automobiles so far for you this year, but you're back in victory lane for IRWS. Tell me how it feels.
Yeah, I wish I had a cleaner finish, though. I wish me and Matt went at it to the end, especially, and same with Ian. I wish Ian was up there with the two of us. But yeah, the first half of the race was pretty smooth sailing, but some let's just say Andretti strategy wise, just a lap too short on fuel, so we had to do some intense fuel saving there. So me and Matt were just tiptoeing around trying to beat each other on the fuel strategy, and I don't know, I like to call it a high IQ strat. I let Matt overtake me a couple laps to go, and I just used him as a little tow. I don't know if he caught on at any point, but yeah, we were out of grip that last lap and just all out, and I did not mean to send him into the wall at all at Blanchimont there.
How loose was it on the outside of Blanchimont? Because if there was, I mean, maybe half a degree of less input, you might have ended up in the wall with him too. How little grip was there in the last couple laps?
Well, I thought I was going to take that corner just flat out completely fine and keep my line on the inside and have him go around the outside, but no, I completely slid up, going all the way to the outside line into his line, causing him to react and just go straight into the wall there. So yeah, it was unpredictable those last few laps. But I'm glad to end my part-time Indy season here. I'm only doing these 3 races on with a win, so I'll take it.
When are we going to see you back?
Not sure. Whenever I'm not doing any real life races.
That's a pretty dang good excuse. Congrats, Lucas.
Yeah.
All right. And that'll be all she wrote after 25 laps here. Week off next week for IRWL, but we'll be back the following week, continuing our road racing streak. That's a lie. We're going to Kansas. On to Kansas for our first, true leg-stretching race of the year. Going super speedway racing, but of course, tomorrow night, Wednesday Night Dash, the grand finale at Michigan, looking to crown our 10th champion in league history. Hope to see you there. For everybody at Stadium Scene TV and FR Racing, I'm Jackson Lambros saying thank you so much for watching. So long from Spa.